firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks this Tuesday, November 17th. It's a great day for us here at Radio Cayman. We have a lot to talk about. We'll be first welcoming the Scholarship Secretariat as we discuss the overseas application period as well as the local application period for scholarships. Following that, we will have some guests from the Department of Children and Family Services. That will be Lois Kellyman and Vanda Powery, along with Brian Watler from the Cayman Islands National Museum. With their segment, we'll be discussing a little bit of how Older Persons Month went in October and how some of the events from October got moved into November due to some unforeseen circumstances. And then we'll have some open lines. So we do have a lot to talk about. There's been quite a number of things that our islands have faced in the past week and a half. The most recent being, unfortunately, the passing of a resident due to COVID-19. Our condolences to the family, friends and family of that person who did pass away, as we received notice on that yesterday. And with that, we'll go to a break, and I'll be back with, hopefully, our guests. Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I am your host this afternoon and for the rest of the week, Kathy Miller. I'm filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We are awaiting for the Scholarship Secretariat to join us this afternoon on Talk Today to discuss the overseas and the local application period, as well as to answer any common questions that we might have about scholarships. One big event that I do want people to be aware of today that is happening for all recent college graduates and college students, Work Jobs Cayman has a registration event that takes place today at the Marriott Beach Resort Orchid Ballroom. This is for graduates with the last names A through K, and they'll get assistance in registering on the Jobs Cayman portal. And that will be going on today until, I think it's 4 p.m. Yes, and that's at the Marriott Beach Resort Orchid Ballroom. So if you need assistance in registering on the Jobs Cayman portal, you will get that help at the Marriott today. There's different available positions, and you can sign up for internship and training opportunities as well. That is for college graduates and students, last names A through K, today at the Marriott. Tomorrow, the same event is happening. We're not forgetting about the rest of the people, L through Z. So if your last name starts with L through Z, you can go tomorrow to the Marriott from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and also register with Jobs Cayman for the available positions, internships, and training opportunities that are available. While we are waiting on our guests, we can do an open line. So if you want to call me and talk to me about things that are on your mind, things that have happened in the Cayman Islands over the past week, anything that you just want to get off your chest, please do give us a call. The numbers to call are toll-free for Flow customers, 1-800-534-8255, or 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp us at 925-3261. I want to bring our attention back to what I had said in my opening comments regarding the passing of a COVID-19 patient. So we did receive official confirmation yesterday that somebody did pass away, and for everybody that's wondering, this is not a community transmission case. This was a traveler that, upon returning back to the Cayman Islands, they were in isolation and they received, the symptoms did get worse. And I believe it was from the 4th of October, they were in ICU. They were being treated at the Cayman Islands Hospital. I believe it's the Cayman Islands Hospital at least. And unfortunately, they succumbed to COVID-19. So again, our condolences. The information should be on the government websites if you'd like to check out what the press release was. And also stay tuned to Radio Cayman as we update you on more COVID-related news. And I'd like to welcome our guest this afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon.
All right. Please introduce yourself. Let our listeners know who you are.
I am Dr. Shari Smith, Manager for the Scholarship Secretariat with the Ministry of Education.
All right. Well, welcome. I was telling people that we're now starting our overseas application period for scholarships, right? And then the local application period will be in 2021.
Yes.
But let's get started with that. So I want to say just yesterday, but really Sunday, November 15th, that's when the application period started for overseas application.
Exactly. So the application period is open from now. We open on the 15th, as you just said, and we close on the 31st of January, 2021. Time flies, so we really want persons to, get started. It's a 5-stage process. It's all online. We do not accept applications after the deadline. All of the documents that are required are documents that persons should be able to obtain at this stage of their academic process. And it's open to individuals who are seeking to pursue their tertiary qualifications at an overseas institution. And it's from your associates to your doctorate that you would be, you could apply for.
Well, excellent. Now, with that, it's a tight window.
Mm-hmm.
So it just began that you can accept applications now. And the last date to receive it is the 31st of January.
Yep.
We know that in this COVID situation, things are taking a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
So it could take students a little longer to have all the paperwork that they need to receive is well, not necessarily from government, but from others.
Well, how we have it set up is actually works. There's nothing they should not be able to receive. So local students who are just getting ready to finish high school, we don't expect them to have their final exams or anything like that. What they would be uploading is their most recent transcript. Okay. We work very closely with all the schools on the island, so they've probably already started pooling those. If it's someone who is already in university, again, their most recent transcript. So if this is their first, if they're applying for their master's, they should be finishing. So they should have been in university for at least 2 to 3 years already. So that's what you would upload. So it's initial information that you would need to provide. So your academic history, information on the university. We're asking for screenshots for various things, or copies of screenshot of email that you've applied for information from that university. Obviously, if you have, we've got a medical that's required, but that's not required at this point. It's not until you're confirmed that you have been given a conditional approval. So there's really nothing in that application process for now that anyone cannot get a hold of. Parents' job letters, so you've got time to get the job letters. The only thing that sometimes causes a bit of a glitch is the proof for right to be Caymanian. And what we ask is that individuals at least demonstrate that if they don't have that certificate from the immigration that they apply now. And they have to basically, they take a copy of their application. So when they hand it into immigration, you just ask the officer to stamp it or sign it or something. And you upload that copy because we know that takes time. Okay. So anything that's final is not required until when the application review process starts, which is usually April, May that we're looking at, that those final review processes are doing. Because really nothing that anyone cannot be.
They can't get their hands on. They can't get a hands on. They should be able to at this point. That's great news.
Yeah. And that's how actually we've done it for the whole year.
Okay. So is that...
We started this with, COVID came in with the locals this year. And so we adjusted everything at that point in time. If persons are having any difficulties with any of getting any kind of documents or uploading or whatever, we know that today, which is, apologies for being late, but we're having some issues with the system, to please call the Secretariat, and then we can go onto the system and see what issues are happening. If they have any questions, they can either email us or give us a call, and we'd be happy to help them out.
The email and phone number?
Email is scholarships@gov.ky. And the phone number, I should know this by heart by now.
It's all right. I only know about 2 phone numbers by heart. My mom's and I think mine. That's it. So
244-2417.
244-2117?
2417.
2417. Mm-hmm. Okay, so any questions, you can email scholarships@gov.ky or call 244-2417. Yeah. If you're having any issues, getting on the system today.
Yeah, so we know there's been a couple of glitches. The other thing that we do have, we have our website, which is scholarships. It's off the Ministry of Education's website. So you would go to education at gov.ky and just click on the scholarships link. We have had one of our officers has spent enormous time developing the guidelines to the application.
I did see that there.
Yes.
Let's get into those guidelines. We have to take a commercial break right now, but once we come back from the break, let's get into what those guidelines are.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Would you like to win some extra cash for Christmas? Yes, cash. Well, here's your chance to do so. The Cayman Islands Netball Association, CINA, is having their Cash Shorama fundraiser, which was postponed due to the lockdown. The Cash Shorama will now be held on December 19th at Constitution Hall, formerly the Georgetown Town Hall. There are 4 top prizes of $1,000 each, plus 10 prizes of $100 pure hard cold cash. You don't have to be present to win, so get your ticket today from any player or association member. Donation is only $15. All previous tickets purchased for the Cash-orama will be honored. Great entertainment and food will be on sale. Proceeds from the event will go towards the Netball Development Program that will help improve the international ranking of all the squads. The Cayman Islands Netball Association, Cash-orama, coming December 19th. CINA, a registered charity organization.
You're invited to enjoy a customer appreciation and seasonal celebration with Vigoro Nursery on Agricola Drive. Join Vigoro Sunday, November 22nd from noon to 3:30 p.m. for appetizers, beer, wine, and live music. Save 10% on early bird Christmas shopping with Vigoro's best selection of home accessories, truly stunning ceramics, and occasional furniture. Bring the kids. It's going to be a fantastic time with Vigoro on Agricola Drive.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. I have joining me in Talk Today this afternoon Dr. Sherry Smith, the Scholarship Secretariat, and we are discussing the overseas applications for all students, and not just students.
Nope.
Younger adults, I would say as well, looking to...
And mature adults too.
Oh,
we have some people
good.
Who... Yeah,
that's the question I have.
Start. Yeah,
looking to get their training and education overseas.
Yeah.
So, I previously used to think that scholarships were only available, at least for your bachelor's degree, associates or bachelor's, for a certain age, like early 20s, that you could, But once you hit a certain age, you couldn't apply for one. Is that still?
Nope.
Excellent.
No, we have obviously individuals straight out of high school. Some who have completed their first, maybe second degree and are looking at doing their doctoral studies. And the age ranges, right? So, yeah, we have mature applicants as well who have, life happens, as we all know, even more so in this year. And so they may be finding that, hey, now is the time that I can actually dedicate to pursuing, some qualifications and so forth.
So scholarships are open to them as well.
Yep.
That's excellent. That's
Yeah.
Good news.
Yeah.
Out of the amount of people that do apply for scholarships, would you say you have an average of, 200 or 2,000 people a year? Not 2,000, but
Please no.
Don't stress them out that much.
If my staff is listening, they just all had a heart attack. The majority, I would say, of our applicants are recent school leavers or individuals who are completing their first degree and moving on to their second degree. So if you're studying something like in the sciences or the medicine where really you need to have a master's or a doctorate, then, obviously they're just transitioning to the next level of qualifications that they need to be able to obtain what it is to be able to come back home and provide the service to the community. So I would say it's probably majority of them are more in the younger range, but we also have quite some that are the more mature adults as well, especially with so much now being accessible online. You will see more mature applicants who are pursuing qualifications through the online option.
And I did see in part of the frequently asked questions, which is if you do go to education.gov.ky, there is a scholarships tab, and in the scholarships tab you can view all the different steps in taking the scholarships, what scholarships are available, not just government scholarships as well. I did note that. But in the frequently asked questions, there was a question there saying, am I able to apply for a scholarship to pursue online studies? And at the moment what it says is online study with an overseas institution is only available at the postgraduate degree level or higher, so
right.
being master's level or a doctorate.
Right.
Is that still the case?
That is still the case because Council really wants to encourage individuals to get that, face-to-face on-campus experience for their first degree, right? We are now living in COVID. And so a lot of universities have gone to online options.
Exactly.
So we are not discouraging persons from looking at that, but we're encouraging especially students who are going off, who are pursuing their first degree or their associates. What we would encourage them to look at is universities that are maybe currently online, but once there is a handle on this situation a bit better, that it will go to a on-campus option, right? So not to be discouraged, but to continue to apply. Other things that I would say first-time applicants or even persons who may be doing a master's, they've worked for a while and they're looking at doing a master's that is going to be actually a campus program. Things that they want to consider are visa qualification requirements, right? And the quarantine requirements. Now, this scholarship application is not for funding until September of 2021. So anything is possible. We may be, in June and the numbers have gone down and everything's basically opened up and so forth. But I like to encourage people to have a plan for the worst case scenario, right? So worst case scenario is if you had to get a visa, you're going to the U.S., for example. You want to look at, first of all, the universities you're looking at. What are their response to the COVID pandemic on campus? What is that area's response? Because if this is the same situation that we're looking at in the next 6 months, you want to be aware of what are your resources. Well, what's the situation that you're going into? As if you need to have a visa to go into the U.S., currently Jamaica requires you to quarantine. So, we had a individual reach out to us a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, I'm kind of reconsidering because they need to go to Jamaica to quarantine, which was like 14 days. Then when they came back to Cayman, they would have to quarantine for another 14 days. And then the possibility of, I think, where they were going was also requiring quarantine. So basically, they were going to be in quarantine for almost a month and a half. And I said, do you want to, maybe kind of pull back and maybe not go right now?
That's difficult, yes.
So it's, I would say, considering whether it's a gap year or you're going to take a term and wait to determine, this is a perfect time to have those conversations and those thoughts, because we've seen what's been going on over the last 9 months, right? We've had students who have left in September, gone overseas, universities started, they've then shut down, they've come back to Cayman, or they've gone from being on campus to fully online. So things are still very much up in the air. Universities are still very much trying to figure things out. So for students, when they're doing their research, really look at how are things being managed, and make sure that if that is the situation you have to go into, that you and your family have a plan and you're comfortable with what's being, what you're currently seeing.
What the situation is.
Right?
That's a great point. And man, my heart goes out to all the students that do have to go in and get that visa and in quarantine. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
So do you have the resources to do
Yes.
it? And then if you have to go to the UK or the US or Canada and go through those quarantine procedures, it's still it's costly.
Yes.
And it can be frustrating, but don't give up.
Yeah.
That definitely don't give up. And I would encourage, I do online school,
Mm-hmm.
and if I could be in person, definitely. If I could have done it at a more timely time in my life instead of my late 30s, I probably would have done that too.
Yeah.
So I definitely encourage those students that are looking to do it. This is just another little fork in the road, and we don't know how long COVID's going to be around. So try to do it if you can, no matter what. Try to get your application in and go for it, because we have to live with the situation as we have it right now.
Right. And the other thing is that if they, for example, they're not sure, and they think, well, maybe I'm not going to go September 2021, but I might start in January 2022.
Yes.
This is when they would need to put in that application.
Oh, for January as well, 2022.
Yes, because
okay.
we don't have an application period again until next year, November.
So it's a yearly, only
It's
one
once a year.
time
Yeah,
application
because as soon as
period.
we close overseas, our locals open up shortly after that. So,
Right.
So if they're thinking of, starting in September, or possibly the program starts in January 2022, they need to get their applications in now.
Okay. So what are some of the guidelines that these applicants have to follow?
First of all, it's all online. I can't say that more than enough. We do not take any hard copies at the Secretariat. So they need to complete the application online. They're looking at needing to have, some documents that outline their academic history. They're going to need correspondence from the university, so demonstrating that they have reached out to the university and made contact. They need to have some information in regards to the program they're going to pursue studying. So they need to upload their degree plan. And a degree plan is basically, if go on any university or the university website that you're looking at, and look up your program, and they usually have the 4-year or the 3-year plan of the courses.
Right.
That's what you need to be copying and uploading to your application. Stage 5 is all the financial information. So we need copies of both parents' job letters, and in terms of for proof of income, and I think some just basic correspondence information and so forth. So
in the case if there's just one legal guardian for the child, that's just that sole guardian?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just need to indicate that on the application where you would have a parent to, whatever the situation is, they would just indicate that and then, submit their application.
Is there any extras they can do? Character references, job reference letters, anything like that?
Well, students are required to have an academic reference and a character reference as well.
Okay.
And I would say to really spend time on their personal statement. It's your first introduction to, the panel that reviews your application. And the application is actually, the Secretariat first reviews it and we categorize all the applications. We then have actually panelists for the various areas that actually conduct interviews for our students, right?
I've done that. I've sat on a panel.
There you go, right?
About 10 years ago or so, maybe about 10 years ago, I sat on a panel.
Sounds like time for you to come back on the panel. But yeah, I mean, this is the time, that is their first introduction to, to the persons who are reviewing, and then that application then goes to the council, and the council looks at it as well. So really put some thought into, why are you deserving of this scholarship? What are you going to use it for? How does it apply to the Caymanian community? Just do not write, I deserve it because I'm Caymanian. You need a lot more than that.
You have to sell yourself.
You have to sell yourself, right?
Yes.
Because we are blessed to be able to provide this in our country. There's very few countries and regions that provide this kind of opportunity for their my brain just went.
Their residents, the students.
Their residents, yes. My brain just shut down. And so, yes, you want to take advantage of it, but you also have to demonstrate, some accountability for why you're being given the scholarship. Obviously, once you complete, the expectation is that you will return to the Cayman Islands and provide, the best case scenario is that you will be employed in the field that you have just studied it.
Do you have to, because I know with the private sector this is the case, but with government scholarships, do you have to work within a government department or entity?
No.
Okay, so that's excellent. So I could go and get a degree in communications, for example, and return back to the Cayman Islands, but I don't necessarily have to work for government as long as I'm trying to actively find work.
It's not like when I went off to school years and years ago. Yeah, when you returned, you had to work for government.
Okay, I like that change.
That's why I've been with government for so long.
All right, we got to go to a commercial break, but after the break, we'll be back with Dr. Shari Smith talking about the overseas application period for scholarships.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Brand Source Home Gallery is celebrating their 50th anniversary with a 20% store-wide sale starting Wednesday, November 18th through Saturday, November 21st. You heard right. Yes, 20% off everything in store. Plus, a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Laundry pair. Shop and save. Celebrate Brand Source Home Gallery's 50th anniversary store-wide sale with 20% off everything in store, plus a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Laundry pair. Drawing for the lucky winner of the GE Smart Laundry pair will be held on Saturday, November 21st at 4:30 p.m. Phone 623-5000 for details. Brand Source Home Gallery, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And we have Dr. Shari Smith, Scholarship Secretariat, discussing the overseas application period, which is from now, it's going on right now up until the 31st of January 2021. We were just talking about emphasizing your personal statement when you're sending this application in. Mm-hmm. And if you go to education.gov.ky, go to the scholarships tab, you will be given all the steps that you need to take. Everything is very well laid out. I was on that website a little earlier today, so I saw how you guys made it quite easy for people. A little bit of ease due to the COVID restrictions that are out there, so they've been able to relax some of their rules. And as Dr. Smith was saying, when you're applying for these scholarships, make sure you can sell yourself as best you can. There's a number of people after these government scholarships. Do you know approximately how many scholarships you have to offer?
Well, we don't have a limit in terms of the number of scholarships. Right?
Okay.
So it really depends on however many people applies, then we award them the scholarship once they're eligible.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think this year we had probably about 300 and something total for overseas.
Wow. Okay.
Right? I might be. Yeah. Probably about that much. So, and I would say probably about 200 of that was probably undergraduate degree qualifications, and then another 100 for postgrad. And then in locals, when local comes around, we have about 400 applications. So it's quite a. I mean, currently we have almost. My brain is failing. Almost probably almost 1,000 students on scholarship currently.
Okay, and that includes from
a
bachelor's degree
to all the way to
doctorate.
To doctorates, yeah.
Do you find the numbers increasing for students who are looking to get their master's degree or their doctorate degree?
I'd say yes. It's getting, it's becoming more that your master's is your first degree.
I don't like hearing this right now.
And in some cases, your doctorate is your first degree. So yeah, we are seeing a lot more numbers or an increase in that, and encouraging students to also explore that as well. Right? You want to be competitive in the market that you're going into, and a lot of the individuals, especially if you're looking at an international level, are coming back with their masters or or their doctorate and stuff. So, and like I said, with technology, it's so much more feasible. So you can be as yourself working full time. I mean, it's a lot more added stress, but working full time and pursuing your masters or your doctorate. I mean, that's kind of how I did mine, at least half of mine. So there's no reason why you can't do this.
Right.
So the opportunity is there. It's just, taking some time, going to the guidelines document, reading through the guidelines document, which, as said, we have outlined point by point every document that you're going to need in every stage, from stage 1 to stage 5, and, starting to put those things together. I cannot emphasize more than enough. Do not wait until the last minute to start uploading stuff, right? The other thing that I want persons listening to is that this is an opportunity for young people, especially those who are going off for the first time. This is really the first time that they have an opportunity to start to navigate the world they're going to have to learn how to navigate.
Yes.
And it is really, really important for them to, one, make sure they present themselves in a very professional manner. So you want to make sure that you have a professional email. You want to make sure that the photo that you upload is a professional photo. It doesn't mean you have to go out and do, a photo shoot. You could do a selfie, but make sure it looks presenting, something that you would want to be presenting to a potential employer. Because in essence, we are employing you for the next 3 or 4 years, right?
What about, there's a review panel when you're looking at the scholarships, right? So now we know this for people who are seeking jobs at times. I don't know if this works for scholarships. So do you ever look at for example, their social media perhaps and do this person looks like, I don't know if they're ready or quite fit because of how they might be presenting themselves online through perhaps suggestive pictures and whatnot. Right.
We haven't gotten to the point where we're looking at social media. Honestly, I don't have the time to do that. But I find that I don't have to go to social media because what's presented in the application will send those flags up. And what usually will happen is we will then have a conversation with the individual when we're doing the interview in regards to, how do you present yourself? Because in your bond, in your agreement, it does say that you are, agreeing to be an ambassador and representative of the Cayman Islands for the X amount of time.
Okay.
And so we expect our scholars to represent themselves in professional manners and to represent the Cayman Islands because, out there, we all know how the media is. It's not going to be, Shari Smith did this. It's going to be, Shari Smith from the Cayman Islands.
Right.
that did this, right? And so, being cognizant of that and, like I said, this is about not just empowering yourself, but also, country pride and doing something to benefit the future of the Cayman Islands.
I think it's important the point that you made, it's really your first step into the professional world.
Yes.
And a lot of the times we'll listen to jaded parents, perhaps, or that didn't get the opportunity to get scholarships or apply for education overseas, and they might just had to work one or numerous jobs to be able to provide for their family.
Right.
But they might have a sense of, you're not going to get anywhere without education, or they might think it doesn't matter if you do.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you do because these opportunities are not going to Caymanians.
Right.
I think it's important to stress that that's not the case. You have to make a road for yourself.
Yes.
And these opportunities are available. And the fact that there's no cap on the scholarships being given out, if you want to improve your life and change your life and go for the best, this is a great way to start.
Yeah. And the other thing I would add is that in terms of this being their first opportunity or one of the first opportunities they have, we also have the parents. It should be a partnership. You will have those students who are very independent and they, and go and fill out the stuff and then come at the end and go, hey, mom or dad, give me these papers and submit it. But you want to have a conversation with, your child because, the scholarship currently is $20,000 per annum. That does not cover all of your expenses. And even if you're going to the UK where they have their tuition capped at 9,000 plus pounds, it's still not going to cover all your expenses. So, you need to have a conversation with your family and say, okay, how do we cover those additional expenses? We now live in COVID, right? If for some reason, you need to get home or, medical expenses, again, how is that covered? The scholarship is, a limited amount of funding. And so you need to have the conversation of what are we doing? Are we going to go look at having a loan? Do we need to, do you have something saved up? So those kind of things. The other thing is that parents letting go
can be very hard, I've heard.
Letting go and allowing your student to take the lead. We have situations where we will have a parent set up an application account for their child, but they use their own name and set up that account. And then you'll have the student who later then sets up an account. So when we download everything, we're downloading everything, right? And then I'm like trying to figure out, well, where is the student? Why they have, set up why didn't they submit all their documentation? What's going on? And then, at the end, after you've spent all that time trying to figure it out, you realize, oh, this is actually not even an actual account application, right? So really important. And even if the parent is like, if the student's in the middle of exams and, okay, I'm going to go online and set it up in their name. Because when we pull down the information, we pull down it as the applicant and we put that on file, and that is what we use to track. So, there are times where I'll get calls and say, oh, I haven't heard back and I applied, and I'm like, well, what's your name? And I'm looking in the list and I don't see the student's name. And then it's usually something, well, unfortunately, the parent may have put their name in instead of the student's name, right? So
that can cause some chaos.
It can cause some chaos, and like I said, I understand. I'm a parent myself, and it's hard sometimes, but we really need to do this to prepare our children for the world that they are going to have to navigate.
Absolutely. If you can't get the application process right, that worries me as to how you might perform in a college or university. So this is where everything starts. Let them take those first steps into developing into a professional.
And this is a very, if you want to call it, a safe environment. So, you're there, you're watching them, how they navigate it, and you're there to support, and they can do that now and learn those lessons now rather than trying to have or having to learn those lessons when they're off somewhere that you can't get to them and give them that support and that help, you know. So it's really, really important for the students to take the lead.
We have to go to our 1 p.m. headlines, but a reminder to everybody, the application period for overseas application is from now. It began November 15th and it will go until January 31st. The absolute deadline is January 31st because the review process will take them through April to May. Most students are going off in August to their school. A lot of things to think about, and remember to please check out the applications available and the guidelines at education.gov.ky. Thank you, Dr. Shari Smith, for joining us this afternoon on Talk Today.
Thank you.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Workforce Opportunities Residency Cayman is hosting a Jobs Cayman registration event in the Orchid Ballroom at the Grand Cayman Marriott Beach Resort. The event is open to those with last names A to K today and last names L through Z on Wednesday, November 18th, 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. For more info, call 244-4048. In international news, Hurricane Iota has brought torrential rains and strong winds to Nicaragua's Caribbean coast 2 weeks after another devastating storm hit. Iota made landfall as a Category 4 storm near the town of Puerto Cabezas, where patients had to be evacuated from a makeshift hospital after its roof was ripped off. Residents are in shelters and there are fears of food shortages. Almost 100,000 alleged victims of sexual abuse within the Boy Scouts of America have come forward to claim compensation from the group. A lawyer for the plaintiffs called it the biggest ever U.S. sexual abuse case. Internal files published in 2012 revealed decades of abuse. Lewis Hamilton's been named the most influential black person in the UK. Days after winning Formula One's World Championship for a record-equaling 7th time, he topped the Power List 2021. The list honors the most powerful people of African, African Caribbean, and African American heritage in the UK. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And on this segment of Talk Today, we will be speaking with Lois Kellyman and Vanda Powery from the Department of Children and Family Services, along with Brian Watler from the Cayman Islands National Museum. We'll be discussing Older Persons Month, which was October, but some events were postponed. Activities were also reduced this year due to, we all know, COVID and how it rained on all of our parades. But we're going to be specifically discussing a walkabout that was postponed from October, and now it'll be November 21st. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Kathy. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. It's excellent. I have to say that one of the highlights for me for Older Persons Month this year was the introduction of the video series. Yes. The half-hour video series. Yes. So I only watched the one on former Speaker Mary Lawrence. Yes, that was great. That was a nice interview. She's a sharp woman, so it was good to hear her talk. So they have half-hour interviews available on Cayman Islands Government TV. You can watch it. I'm not sure when that airs, but you can also go to the CIG TV YouTube page, and you can find these interviews there. So you get some insight into older people, what life was like for them and is like still now, and how they live their lives. All right, that's one of the great things I would say for Older Persons Month that was brought in this year. But the topic for today is the Georgetown Walkabout. Let our listeners know a little bit about this event.
Okay, so the Georgetown Walkabout is an event that we had planned, as you had mentioned earlier, in October. Because of the weather, it got postponed. But we thought this is one of our new events for this year. And we thought that it was going to be such a lovely event. And as we spoke to people about what it was, they were getting excited. And we thought, okay, it's November, it's getting close to December, but we're still going to do it.
Okay, excellent.
So the Georgetown Walkabout is where we are inviting older persons to come to Georgetown, where the center of activity used to be. Our theme for Older Persons Month was then and now. So we're still working along with that theme. Older persons come into Georgetown on Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 21st of November, and come along with their family members. Persons who use walkers are encouraged to come. Persons who use canes, any mobility aid, wheelchairs, they're also encouraged to come. So they are not to be left at home, people. Please do not leave them at home. Bring them along with you. We want to have everybody. We want to include as many people as possible, as many of our older people. We're going to walk around Georgetown, stop at some of the historic sites. There are various activities which I guess we'll get into later at the sites. And it's about reminiscing. It's about engaging with young and older people. It's about just having fun, talking, listening, telling stories, sharing some of that history that we always say that we're losing a little bit of, or maybe losing a lot of, and so it's just going to be a real good event.
When we're talking about older persons, what age bracket would you say that is?
We normally say that our seniors are 60 and over, is what we consider as seniors. So, yes. But this is an intergenerational event.
Right.
So we're encouraging persons to come out with their younger family members and enjoy the day.
Well, which is good, because for especially ones who need assistance in walking, you can't do it alone. So definitely bring the younger ones with you so that they can help you, but they can also learn, because as you mentioned, you'll be going to different historic sites and people will be sharing stories.
Yes.
And that's one of the best ways we learn about each other, about culture, is just sharing stories, and it's how we evolve, right?
Yes.
And storytelling since the beginning of time is something that people have done and been entertained by. So that's something I believe that will never change.
You're right.
That's for this Georgetown Walkabout event is aimed for the older people, but you can bring your family along with you, which is highly encouraged. The time, and is there a meeting location?
So we're starting at 12 noon.
Okay.
And it's going to go on for a while. So we start at 12 noon. We have a number of stops that we do. The museum is our last stop, and the museum activities start at 4 o'clock. So all the other stops will complete their activities by 4, and the museum will continue, being our last stop, they will continue with their activities from 4 to 8. The starting point is at the library, the Georgetown Public Library, where we will do registration.
Okay, so you do have to register for the event. Okay.
It would be nice for you to register, for the seniors to register, because when they register, they get a passport, which is neat.
Yes.
And as they go to the different stops, they'll get stamps, and they also get an ID bracelet. So they need to bring, when the seniors come, they need to bring an ID card just to give us a proof of their age, because they will get a bracelet which will entitle them to some free refreshments and maybe 1 or 2 other goodies.
Okay, excellent. So the meeting time is 12 noon at the Georgetown Public Library this coming Saturday, and registration will be on location. Are you able to register beforehand?
No.
Okay.
Just when you come there.
Okay. And is it limited to a number of people?
No,
okay,
any
awesome.
amount of seniors. We're encouraging all of them from all districts to come out and just really have a good time.
Do we know how long they're walking for? Like, I don't imagine it's going to be even a 3K course.
No,
I don't imagine that.
The great thing about this event is that they take their own pace. They walk at their own pace.
Okay.
If they don't want to do the entire route, it's entirely up to them. We encourage them to just do as much as they can and just enjoy as much as they possibly can. So it's entirely up to whatever it is that they're capable of, and we're there to help and support them and encourage them to have great fun.
Okay, excellent. What is the reception so far from the older persons that you know that might be coming out? Are they excited for this event?
They are. Because this year we've had to do a different take because of COVID-19 pandemic and restrictions. So, the creativity of our committee in doing new events, I guess has intrigued them in some way also. They're accustomed to doing, at the end of the month, we usually host a gala, a dinner event, dinner and dancing event, I should say.
Nice.
So they're looking forward to this, which allows them to come together, because the other events that we've hosted for the month were restricted mainly to the individual districts. So this allows them to come back together into, at least one event for the month to be able to socialize and share and just enjoy a good time.
So while it's called the Georgetown Walkabout, we're really emphasizing that it's for everybody. Boddentown, East End, North Side, West Bay, you come on over. And Cayman Brac, if there's anybody from Cayman Brac here this weekend, any of our seniors and their families, come to Georgetown and walk around with us.
Definitely.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice afternoon. For the different highlights of the walk, is there certain areas that we know the museum is where we're ending, but is there any other highlights during this walk that we can mention?
Well, I think I'm going to ask Vanda to give us the tour in the different stops, and give us a little idea of what will happen at each stop, and Brian will talk about the museum.
All right, Ms. Vanda.
Right, so at the library, we know then that we start there with registration and refreshments. We move on to the post office, and so as they move along to the various stops with their passport, they're able to get a stamp. And so as they move along, and they're all at the post office, they'll be able to do what a lot of people really don't do these days because of technology. They actually have an opportunity to do mailing, to mail post. So you'll have postcards available. And there is also the Emsley Memorial Church is also another stop. One of our seniors who passed last year, Mrs. Olive Miller, we'll have a beautiful dedication memorial for her. They'll be able to look at, her history of how much she's contributed to the community and to our seniors. She did sit on our committee, and so that is something that we thought would be really nice to represent and share.
And then also at Emsley Church, we have some prayer cards that persons can do, make prayer requests, and there's a prayer tree they can hang it on, and of course Emsley Church will use that and will put that in their prayer sessions that they have.
That's lovely.
They will also, the Girls Brigades are going to be there to man that stall, or that stop, I should say, and they will also provide persons with a history of the church, so people can walk and look at the beautiful roof in the church and learn a little history of or reacquaint themselves with some of the history of how that was built. So that will be done there. And the other stop is at Hero Square.
Okay. I was figuring that had to come in somewhere.
That had to come in somewhere.
Square has to be in there, yes.
And the Wall of History. So along the route, we'll have volunteers as well, really engaging people and talking to people about. So, for example, in the Wall of History, it has dates like there's the 1932 hurricane. If there's anybody there who remembers, maybe they had some experience with the hurricane, or they may remember what their mother or father told them about it, then we'll engage in conversation and talk about that. And the different monuments around Hero Square, we'll do the same thing for that as well.
Okay, and then the last stop is the museum, correct?
Right, but before the museum...
that was another stop. My bad, I jumped ahead.
Yes, so before the museum, we also have Constitution Hall. And in Constitution Hall, years ago, we used to have lots of dances and concerts at Constitution Hall, which formerly known as the Georgetown Town Hall. We're getting accustomed to the new name, Constitution Hall. And Constitution Hall, the Cayman Islands Music Association will be providing us with entertainment throughout the day.
Oh, excellent. I like that. That's a nice little touch as well. Yes. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back from the commercial break, we're going to hear about the last stop, which is going to be at the Cayman Islands National Museum, and the activities that are planned at the museum for the Georgetown Walkabout this coming Saturday, November 21st.
Kirk Freeport has opened a clearance pop-up store to liquidate overstocked inventory. The events of 2020 have led to a large overstock. So, Kirk Freeport is offering residents pricing like never before, with all merchandise marked down 50 to 75% off. Located at Kirk Freeport on Cardinal Avenue, open Fridays from 12 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The majority is jewelry and watches. Make sure to visit often, as new stock will be added every week. Located at Kirk Freeport on Cardinal Avenue. Visit kirkfreeport.com for more details.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, the offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter is here to serve your needs. Dr. Porter will be taking appointments from November 30th to December 8th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointments, slots, are limited. Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice with special emphasis on skin rejuvenation using lasers and facial fillers. They always strive to provide the highest quality, individualized cosmetic, surgical, and medical skin care. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Brand Source Home Gallery is celebrating their 50th anniversary with a 20% store-wide sale starting Wednesday, November 18th through Saturday, November 21st. You heard right. Yes, 20% off everything in store. Plus, a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Laundry pair. Shop and save. Celebrate Brand Source Home Gallery's 50th anniversary store-wide sale with 20% off everything in store, plus a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Laundry pair. Drawing for the lucky winner of the GE Smart Laundry pair will be held on Saturday, November 21st at 4:30 p.m. Phone 623-5000 for details. Brand Source Home Gallery, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years. As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19 and get ready for the hurricane season, it is important to also protect our environment, which ultimately helps us live healthier, happier lives. Let's always remember, proper disposal of masks and other PPE, as with your normal garbage, avoid littering, and do not include any trash in your recycling. Protect yourselves and keep our islands clean. For full guidance, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
All right, welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Joining us in studio today, we have Lois Kellyman and Vanda Powery from the Department of Children and Family Services, and Brian Watler from the Cayman Islands National Museum. We also have another lady here from the National Museum. I never got her name. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Shanice Macfield from the National Museum.
All right, welcome, Shanice. Now, we were just speaking about the Georgetown Walkabout for older persons and their families, so not just limited to people who are 60 and over, but their family members and friends. It is taking place this Saturday, November 21st in Georgetown, hence Georgetown Walkabout, and it's over several stops, or a handful of stops, I should say, in the Georgetown area, and more kind of historic sites, places that have great historical meaning to the Cayman Islands. And we're going to begin at 12 noon at the library, the Georgetown Library. And in our commercial break, Ms. Kellyman, you were letting us know that there's some extra activity going on at the library when people are showing up for noon.
Sure. So at the library, we're also going to have storytellers. We have Mr. Roy Bodden, former educator and MLA, but he has written quite a few books. Yes. And he has a book called Stories My Grandfather Taught Me, which is very entertaining, and he will be there to read his stories. We will also have Captain Paul Hurlston, who will be there. Captain Paul Hurlston is just a whole library himself.
A seaman.
Yes, but within himself, he's a whole library of history and different stories. So he will be there telling his stories.
That also ties in with Heroes Day and celebrating seamen, the seafaring heritage of the Cayman Islands, right? So that's, I like how you have been able to tie in Captain Paul Hurlston and the seaman thing as well, which we'll be celebrating for Heroes Day in January. So
right.
And clever.
And, we'll have persons, Caymanians doing poems, reciting poems that they have written, like Miss Joan Wilson is one of those. And we will also be showing the Life Stories video series that you were talking about. That is really good. It's another feature that we did this year that was new, and it's really good. And we know that lots of people still haven't seen it, and so they're half-hour video series for different segments, and we will run. Those will be between the storytelling and the video series. They'll be running from 12 noon, so straight back till 4 o'clock at the library.
Okay, excellent. And Vanda, I think there was an extra bit that you wanted to let people know about when they arrive at the post office.
Right. So we're encouraging families, our seniors and families, to ensure that they have the postal addresses for the young persons that they're going to send mail to. So, we don't have mail going all over the place, or they get a hitch, and, have it written on a piece of paper just in case you might have forgotten it somehow or it might have changed. Come with it written down, and that way we can ensure that the mail goes to the right person.
Please bring the addresses, because I think most of us do not know addresses by heart. I know mine and my work's. Again, that's it. So definitely make it a little easier on yourself and write the things down that you got to bring along with you for this walkabout on Saturday. So we know we're going to the Georgetown Public Library, the Post Office, Hero Square,
right,
Constitution Hall,
yes,
and the church,
which I thought was Georgetown Hall as well. Still, I didn't know that it changed name. Elmsey Church as well,
yes.
And then do we end after that at the National Museum?
Yes, we do.
All right, Mr. Brian Watler.
Yes, thank you. Well, let me first begin by thanking the Department of Children and Family Services for including the National Museum on its itinerary. We look forward to always partnering with them and celebrating our invaluable seniors and all that they've contributed towards our society, because it's through them that we can enjoy the luxuries we have today.
Yes.
Yeah. So our event goes well. Lukia Kitchen Dance at the Museum goes well with their theme. The theme of Older Persons Month, Life Stories Then and Now.
That's right.
So our event will be a lot of then with a little bit of now. We're going to be recognizing a lot of the Christmas traditions, Cayman traditions.
Nice. What are those, the Cayman Christmas traditions?
Yes, well, we're going to have...
I do Christmas on my own here, so if I can bring in
adopt a family.
If I can bring in a Cayman tradition, I would absolutely love to. Could you name one?
The kitchen dance.
Yes.
The style dancing to some music outside, having a good time.
They used to back sand, and like Christmas time in Cayman was that it wasn't spring cleaning, but it was like Christmas cleaning, and you back sand and made sure your yard was the prettiest. Who had the whitest sand at Christmas time? Yes, the yard had to be spick and span. You'd paint. So if you see people painting the house at a particular time, this like during Christmas, that's what that is. That tradition that has been passed down, and there's particular types of trees that you'll see.
Yes, Miss Carmen calling from East End. She's going to be she's made and decorated a traditional sisal tree.
Right.
She's going to have all her traditional ornaments, painted it, everything. She's going to have that.
Yes.
Mr. Gerolo Rankin from East End as well. He's going to be doing rope making. We're going to have the maypole. So we're giving the seniors and the public the opportunity to plait the maypole.
Yeah.
Or plait pole, as some of the older people call it.
Okay, cool.
So there's different traditions, and while we do want to include a lot of what we do now, because we've created our own, we want to remember a lot of yesteryears. And Cayman, we do have our own unique culture, you know.
Absolutely.
We've borrowed bits and pieces, but we have made a lot our own. So everybody should come on out, and definitely. But Brian, he has all these like things planned, and
Yes, so we're going to have live music by Bonafide. They're going to be joining us at this event. We're also going to have the UCCI steel pan players and dancers. They're going to be dancing. We're going to have all our traditional artisans and specialty vendors who will be there selling their crafts.
And silver thatch. Like a lot of the silver thatch, or quite a few, because there's not that many of them that are still around that still do silver thatch. So they'll be out there with their bags, and they've been during lockdown. They have been telling us, they've been calling. Listen, we are ready for our event in November. So you please let us know when that is. They are ready.
And
so
that's a testament to, in my opinion, Caymanians very industrious.
Yes.
So that I love hearing that they
resourceful, resilient, and our thatch vendors are ready. So
excellent.
And our specialty vendors too, because we're going to have more than just thatch. Anything from candles to art, soaps, lots of different things, jewelry and resin art and deco pots, all sorts of different things.
So come get your early Christmas shopping.
Yes.
Yes. And then food, a highlight. We're going to have the East End United Church.
Always a highlight.
Everybody loves the East End food. They're going to be there.
Yes.
We're also going to have a traditional attire competition, a cassava cake competition. And we're encouraging people to come dressed in traditional attire just to celebrate our heritage.
We have our costumes ready too. We are
we're going to be dressed up. We're going to be dancing.
Yep. Oh yes. If you have been to any of our other events, you know that Brian and I we usually dance at all of our events.
We do the kitchen dance for you.
Okay. Kitchen quadrille dancing.
Yes, we'll do one or two figures for you.
We are two young seniors.
Yeah.
It's wonderful because you're very integral in continuing to pass that tradition on, and you're young Caymanians, and you see the value in it and the importance in it, and that's needed. Yeah. So it's not just out with the old and with the new, not at all, because you need everything, as you said. The reason we can enjoy so much of our luxuries and what we have in the Cayman Islands comes from our older people, right?
Yes, it does. So we're very grateful for them.
Yep. An exhibit. We're also opening an exhibit on that day. The Miss Virginia Foster's collection. She donated, I think, over 400 objects to the museum recently.
Objects?
So, yes. Some dolls, toys. I think it's an exhibit for kids. So there's a lot of these antique toys and stuff.
Artifacts.
She had a lot. So we're going to have an exhibit for her.
That'll be very cool for the kids. They'll really enjoy that.
Yep.
Okay, excellent.
So you can see why the museum is going to be a really good fit to be the last stop.
Yes,
and they're going from 4 as Cherie says. She and Brian likes to dance, but they go on from 4. The event at the museum goes on till 8 p.m. at night. Hence, we started a little later than we had planned originally. We're starting at 12 noon with a walkabout, so that people can segue into that being their last stop and spending as much time as they want.
Okay, excellent.
It's bringing back life to Georgetown on Saturday.
That's true.
So we have all sorts of things going on, and we're looking forward to it. I know that Cherise and Brian are two of our young Caymanians who have returned from school, started working at the museum, and they have gone full-fledged into it. This is their passion. And so I'm going to encourage everybody to come out and see what our young Caymanians can do when they get really passionate about our culture and about sharing it and making sure that we all see it, and that whatever traditions that have been set for us by the older people are continued.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
We're going to be returning after this commercial break with Lois Kellyman and Vanna Powery from the Department of Children and Family Services, Shanice McField and Brian Watler from the Cayman Islands National Museum.
Over 60 years ago, we started as an insurance company to put people first. Today, with all of the challenges our world is facing, that mission has never been more important. Brit-K is now CG Brit-K. And though our name has changed, our purpose hasn't. We're still the same people-first company we've always been. And we're here for you, stronger than ever. CG Brit-K.
Maintaining a strong mind and body through sports and general healthy living is a good course of action. But what about your spiritual man, your inner man? He has to be awakened, fed, exercised, strengthened, and led according to the will of God. So, have you heard the call? I'm Evangelist Brother Joseph Joey Ebanks, and I'm inviting you to worship Wednesday and Thursday nights at 7:30. We are bringing the Word of God to our communities as Jesus commanded. Faith comes by hearing. So come and hear. Bring your own chair or simply park and listen to the Word of God from your vehicle, covering the Cayman Islands with the Word of God, one community at a time.
Have You Heard the Call will be next to Jimwood Bar, Martin Drive, Central Georgetown, 18th and 19th, 7:30 p.m.
Miracle Brokers International, your worldwide movers and freight forwarders, continues to work hard to improve their expertise to provide you with the first-class service you have come to expect. Now, together with Consolidated Freight Line, CFL, the specialist in logistical and global cargo solutions, customers can rely on an expanded team of moving professionals that gets the job done in a timely manner. Whether it's your prized possessions, full container loads, less than container loads, ro-ro cargo, or construction equipment, from door to port services, or across the oceans, from destinations such as the U.S., Canada, Asia, the Caribbean, Central and South America, among others. Miracle Brokers and CFL Combined Networks offers hundreds of expert connections that take the stress out of moving and shipping services. Call today for your free estimate, 949-5989. You can also log on to www.miraclebrokers.com. Miracle Brokers is located at the end of Kingbird Road, just past CUC. Miracle Brokers, the art of packing and moving, 949-5989.
You know you've dreamed of that Mercedes. The smooth leather, the style. Ooh la la! With the Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzarama. Now is your chance to make that dream come through. Get your ticket for the Benzarama fundraiser at Lorna's Gas Station in Bodden Town, West Bay Esso, Funky Tangs, Reflections, and South Coast Bar and Grill. As well at Event Pro. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzarama fundraiser supports site screening, Christmas deliveries, restoration, and social services.
The Benzarama drawing will take place December 5th. All Benzarama tickets bought earlier this year are still valid.
For the record.
For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you.
For the record.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM from 7:30 to 9 a.m. for Cayman's new Straight Talk morning show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record.
Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
In answer to his question about the subjects.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
I didn't notice. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We do have a caller on the line, and we're going to take that caller as we're discussing the Georgetown walkabouts in celebration of Older Persons Month. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, I've been listening here, and I hear you always referring to older persons. But don't you know that they are just people with valuable, accumulated youth and knowledge?
I definitely agree with you. However, that's the name of the month, and internationally there's a day celebrated, Older Persons Day. Well, however, we know that you're very young at heart.
maybe you should start a campaign to have it changed to persons with accumulated knowledge and youth.
That's an interesting take, Mr. Banks. How are you doing this afternoon?
All right, and I've heard you talking about this. I think what's going on at the museum.
Yes.
And all about this culture, but I have, unless I missed it, I have not heard anything relating to our maritime heritage mentioned anywhere in there.
Well, there was a mention of Captain Paul Hurlston, who will be at the Georgetown Library. It's one of the first stops that are on the Georgetown Walkabout, and he'll be basically sharing his stories. So there's going to be some from his seafaring view. So we did mention that part, and how that also ties in with Heroes Day and how we're celebrating seamen with that. But whether they have any more activities at the museum, for example, I'm not quite sure. Perhaps Mr. Watler can let us know.
I don't think so.
Well,
that would be an excellent place for some exhibit as to the maritime heritage and our maritime marine.
Yes, I think next year we're planning to do a really big exhibit.
Next year is too far away.
I know, but next year is when we were planning to do our huge exhibit on the seafaring heritage.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a whole year of celebrating seafarers next year.
Right.
So it's coming, Mr. Banks, that's for sure.
But if you want to come with your catboat, you can come on down to the museum.
Well, why, I didn't want to suggest it, but, that's an idea.
Well, we'll welcome you.
Come on down.
We always welcome you.
That's a great idea, actually. So we'll see you this Saturday, right?
Welcome and forget don't go together.
That's true. But nobody's forgetting you, Mr. Banks.
No.
That's for
come
sure.
On down.
So don't forget to come down on Saturday. How's that?
Well, maybe you'll have to welcome to forget, okay?
We'll remind you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for your call.
Bye.
Now we're talking about this event, the Georgetown Walkabout, which was postponed from October to now this Saturday, November 21st, in celebration of Older Persons Month. And we all know the COVID situation, and we all know how we're looking to protect our seniors in the community from COVID. Luckily, we don't have any community transmission cases yet. Hopefully that we won't go there. But there has been, when we're looking at more senior people, we're really looking to protect them more because they're more susceptible to falling prey to COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So in this case, and in the regulations that have been implemented in the Cayman Islands in regards to COVID, can you let people know who would like to come out that might be worried a little bit that maybe this virus really is out there somewhere? What are we doing to help people stay safe?
Well, I know from the museum standpoint, we will have sanitizing stations throughout the event. We are trying to keep it smaller, while we do want to make sure it is successful and festive for everyone. We want it to still be fun and safe. So we are keeping it on Goring Avenue, and we're going to have sanitizing stations, and people can go in the museum and have their temperature scanned. But before that, they'll be able to, have hand sanitizer and different things throughout the market areas. And throughout the museum, we have the wayfinding signs, and
we also have stations inside the museum itself too.
And we have sanitizing stations throughout the museum as well, and a few other measures in there, so that we kind of keep our measures in place. We've kind of tried to maintain that.
And we sanitize frequently.
Right.
When people go through, we'll go behind and clean the interactive elements that people would have probably touched.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, and just to make sure that, because a lot of those things we are really trying to keep a handle on, so that we don't have to worry about. It's better to be proactive than reactive.
Right.
Is kind of our policy there.
Absolutely. Lois.
So for Older Persons Month, we took a lot of that into consideration. That's why this year we reduced the number of activities that we would normally have for Older Persons Month, and really kept them district-based, where they were smaller and they were more in their sort of bubble cluster. We practiced social distancing. With our events, we had our sanitizing stations. We did extra masks that we have on hand in case somebody came and didn't want their mask or didn't bring their mask and wanted to use one. And so for this event, in the Georgetown event, that's why we created the walkabout, to spread people around. So you again have that social distancing effect, and like Brian said, the museum has their sanitizing, and all the stops will have their sanitizing stations and so forth.
Okay, excellent.
Along the route, we'll also provide, just wanted to say, we also provide water stops, and there we also will have first aid stops as well. A lot of persons and organizations have come together with us to help us put this on. So of course it's the interagency, and I just really want to say a big thank you to all of them. So to the various stops, to Emsley United for being so accommodating, to facilities management for the Georgetown Hall, to the public library, to the post office. The post office is not open on Saturdays yet, but they are doing something special to allow us to do this. For the sponsors of the stamps, we had people sponsor the stamps. For the museum, of course, we're doing all that they're doing. We also have persons who have sponsored throughout the month. We've had different people who have sponsored events, but we have persons sponsoring refreshments for us. It's just been a really collaborative effort. We have our police officers who are also going to be out there helping us, making sure everybody's safe and management of traffic. There's a Red Cross. We have cadets and Red Cross and Scouts that are working with us as volunteers. So it's really a very good collaborative effort, and we're just know that everybody's going to be safe while they're at the events and taking part, and that they will enjoy it. We want to see people taking pictures.
Oh, I'm sure they will be, of course.
Because, now we're going back and looking at pictures that were taken many years ago.
Yep.
And and we're looking at it and going, oh, really? That's what that looked like then? So when we take those pictures this weekend, our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren will be going, oh, my gosh, So, right. But again, it's sharing those life stories, sharing those experiences for the seniors or older persons sharing their life stories.
Or, as Mr. Banks would like to say, people who have accumulated much knowledge.
Exactly. And so it's a sharing of that knowledge and making sure that it is passed on for future generations.
Yes, very important.
Are very knowledgeable citizens.
Yep. Yes. When we have to go to commercial break right now, but when we come back from the commercial break, I do want to ask you about how you've had to change your activities. What was different, and how did Older Persons Month, which was October, how did that pan out for you guys and your planning? And on that, we're going to go to commercial break, and we'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Santa came early this year. Get ready for the best Black Friday sales event at Penha, MAC Cosmetics, and Victoria's Secret. From November 26th through November 28th, amazing savings on fragrances, cosmetics, accessories, and apparels. Start your Christmas shopping early and save big. Penha Perfumes and Cosmetics on 40 Cardinal Avenue, Georgetown.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that since May, in support of the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, the Chamber Pension Plan leveraged IT and human resources to successfully review over 16,900 member applications, approve over 12,579 applications, and will pay over CI $143 million to our plan members. We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Gather your mateys and rev your engines for a chance to win $4,000 cash. Participate in the first ever Find the Booty Pirates Week scavenger hunt Saturday, November 21st. Arr. Scour the island districts for clues, challenges, and much more. Teams of 4 with 1 car are allowed to enter the Find Your Booty Pirates Week scavenger hunt. Arr. Only $100 entry fee per team. Get your tickets from eventpro.ky. For more details, email events@piratesweekfestival.com.
Ours. The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner. Cayman Medical Supplies is located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center. Telephone 949-6211.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public would say.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And I have left with me in the studio right now, we have Lois Kellyman, Social Work Manager for Community Development and Case Management from the Department of Children and Family Services, and Vanda Powery, Community Development Officer, again, Department of Children and Family Services. Thank you, ladies, for staying with me on this segment. And we're discussing the Georgetown Walkabout in celebration of Older Persons Month. Older Persons Month was October. However, some events had to get postponed and changed, and the one that we're talking about today is the Georgetown Walkabout. Now, that takes place this coming Saturday, November 21st. From noon, you can begin your walkabout at the Georgetown Public Library. Registration is on site, and this is for generations. So it's not just for older people. We were defining the older person in this community to be 60 and older.
Yes.
But we're looking for not just the older person to come out, but family members and friends, assist them, join them on the walk, and hear what they have to say at the various stops and what you can learn in these various stops. So we're stopping at the Georgetown Public Library. We have the post office. Mm-hmm. We have Elmsley United Memorial Church. We have Hero Square, Constitution Hall. And the last stop is the National Museum. And from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m., there's a number of activities Brian Watler from the National Museum let us know about. So even if you can't make the whole Georgetown Walkabout, are people just still able to come to the museum for the activities at 4?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, excellent. That sounds good. So that's this Saturday, and again, this event was supposed to be in October, but it did get postponed. So I know that COVID threw a monkey wrench in everybody's plans, especially for you ladies who are part of planning the activities for Older Persons Month. Can you tell us how COVID did affect what your plans were and how you'd had to change them?
Well, it started when we started planning for Older Persons Month. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. We do realize that during COVID, or in the height of our lockdowns and isolation, the older people didn't have that much interaction with persons because we were really trying to protect them. We have heard that they're one of our most vulnerable categories for where COVID was concerned, and we were really trying to protect them. So a lot of them weren't able to see their family members, their younger family members. We in the department, when we did visits to them, because we were essential services, so we were allowed to be able to go out and check on them. We would kind of just stay by the side of the road, by the driveway, and call them and say, come out to the porch so we can see you. We'd wave and say good morning or whatever it is and have a little chat with them.
What did that mean for the people that you were visiting?
They were excited. They were like, excited. Oh my God, we've seen somebody,
yes.
you know. And so they were really excited, you know, that, and they were very appreciative that that we still cared about them, that they were foremost in our minds.
Yeah.
And, you know, we also did other things, like we obviously called them regularly. We actually collaborated with Celebrate Cayman, who to do Zoom calls with seniors. So we would do Zoom calls with seniors, with a group of seniors, talking about, again, some of the traditional things that they used to do. We would have topics like traditional foods, how they would prepare things, school days, education, and they really enjoyed that. And when we did those Zoom calls, we would have representatives from all throughout the Cayman Islands, so Cayman Brac and the different districts in Cayman.
Now, some people might think that older people, senior citizens, might not have access to technology or understand how to use technology as well as millennials or Generation Z, for example, right? And my mother, being one of them, does not know how to use FaceTime, got an iPhone particularly for this, but does not know how to use it, for example. So was it hard for you to be able to reach out and I guess instruct people how to use it, or did you find that most of the people that you were in contact with had no problem?
Some had no problem. For some, it was difficult. They didn't have the devices or didn't know exactly how to use it. But we tried to instruct them. But if there were families that lived in the homes with them, we would have them help them. So, you know, Excellent. Some people would come and set up mommy or daddy on the call, and then they would step away. And if we went into difficulty, we would say to them, call them, you know, or we would call them on the phone, and you'd see them come back in and
tech assistant.
Yeah, do the technical assistant bit and bring them back on.
Okay, excellent.
So we did things like that. But as we realized that we were opening up a bit, and that October was coming, which is Older Persons Month, which they all looked forward to, we realized that we had to do something. And so we started planning initially within the context of what we could do within a COVID environment. One of the other activities that we did before we started that planning was also doing little craft kits and care packages that we would drop off for the seniors. We had our WhatsApp groups going and so forth. So they were communicating with each other and with us. So we started looking at what could we do within a COVID environment. If we couldn't gather, how would that look? And then we were able to gather in small groups. And as one of the other things is that the seniors in each district, we have senior fellowships that happen some do it on a weekly basis, some do it every other week, some do it once a month. But they weren't able to have those fellowships, of course. So as we started to open back, we gradually took people out and had them meet in smaller groups. So the senior fellowships would probably be having 20, 30. Some senior fellowships have as much as 50, 60, 70 people coming. But we would take smaller groups, so a group of 5 or 6, and we went outdoors. So we would go, say, on a beach.
How important was that for these people at this time? You know, after
they
were elated.
They were elated. Obviously, they still had concerns. They knew
there were restrictions.
They were abiding by it. They were very
aware
of what
it
was.
They asked for sanitizer.
And
you know, I think that
and there were some, that still wasn't ready to come out as yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
so
falls
of course
over
it's
all ages.
It goes over all ages.
It's not just our older people, but there was people of all ages that were still very, very cautious and still are very, very cautious.
That's true. And should continue to be so.
Yes.
Yeah, should continue to be so. I don't think we should totally let our guard down. We have been very lucky that we have been able to create this bubble that we are in.
I agree.
And be able to move around in that bubble. However, things can change at the drop of a hat.
Right.
That's just life.
Right.
And so we need to continue to take our precautions. But the things about sanitizing your hands and stuff is just good hygiene practice anyway.
That's true. It worries me when they first came out with certain advice saying, wash your hands this many times a day or with soap. And I'm just, okay, I was worried about who's not washing their hands and not using soap, for example. I'm like, okay. So you would think some of it is common sense, but as that saying goes, common sense isn't always so common, right?
Yeah. And so as we continued to plan, we also made sure that, again, like I said, we had the masks there at any events. When we did the events, there was social distancing. When we would have normally had a round table that seats 10 people and you put 10 people there, we decreased the numbers around the round table if they were out, for any gathering. And so that's just how we did it.
That's good. You reacted quite well and did what you could do while still including the older persons.
Yes.
So there's a thing about ageism, and if people don't quite understand what ageism is, it's the stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination against people on the basis of their age. Mm-hmm. And this can happen to older and younger. An example being, let's say you're 55 and you're looking for a new job, and somebody says, "Oh, well, you're close to retirement age, or you're too old for this job now."
Right.
And then you have somebody who's a recent college graduate or a high school graduate and looking for a job. "Oh, you're too young. Mm-hmm. You don't have the experience." So ageism, it does happen, but we have to remember with our society, it's everybody wants to be included in what's going on in the events, and we have to cater to all ages of our society.
Yes.
Yes.
You do have another event coming up you were telling me about.
Yes. We do have one event coming up, again for older persons, understanding that we didn't get to do all the activities that they would have liked or are accustomed to. And so we've decided that our department, we are going to do a Christmas social for our seniors. The Christmas social will be held at the Lions Center. It will take place on the 2nd of December, Wednesday the 2nd of December, starting at 6:30 p.m. Seating is limited, and again, that's one of the things that we did with our activities for Older Persons Month.
Right.
We limited the capacity or the numbers that could attend. And so, again, this will be one of those events. Persons who are interested, of course, the community development officers will reach out into the community within their community groups to let the community know about this event. But if there's anybody who's not into one of those community groups and would like to attend, and also for those, so everybody who would like to attend, should contact either the Department of Children and Family Services, numbers 949-0290, or our community development officers. And everybody, I think, just about everybody in the various communities know how to contact their community development officer. If not, ask, and somebody will tell you. But for West Bay, our community development officer is Vanda Powry. For Georgetown, the community development officer is Dorleen Welcome. For North Side, the community development officer is Flavia Gardner. And for Boddentown, it's Carol Bodden. And for East End, it's Delmira Bodden.
That sounds like a lot of ladies.
There's a lot of ladies, but they do good work. They do really good work.
I'm not surprised. The ladies are used to taking these leadership roles within our community as well. So that's also part of our history, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you Vanda and Lois, for joining us this afternoon on Talk Today.
Thank you for having us.
It was great discussion.
I agree.
We want to remind everybody about the Georgetown Walkabout, which takes place this Saturday. The registration is on site at the Georgetown Public Library. It begins at 12 noon. There's various stops. The museum is the last stop, and from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m., so many different activities going on at the museum. Arts and entertainment, stories, crafts. A good old time, really, to be had. And this is all in celebration of Older Persons Month.
Yes.
And a postponed activity from October to November. So you've heard all the efforts that people have been making. So let's try to support them in this initiative and give the final Older Persons Month event a good sign off, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go to a commercial break, and we'll be back with Open Line on Talk Today.
Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Ministry of Health and the Health Services confirm the islands have now seen a second death related to COVID-19 complications. A person returning to the islands from abroad who tested positive. The patient was placed in isolation but reportedly moved from isolation to the Cayman Islands hospital after their symptoms got worse. Officials say the patient died on Sunday. The first person to pass was a tourist from a cruise ship admitted to a local hospital to receive urgent treatment for an unrelated health condition. In international news, the SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft that launched from Florida's Kennedy Space Center with 4 astronauts on board Sunday night safely docked with the International Space Station around 11 p.m. Monday. The 4 astronauts had been on the capsule for roughly more than 30 hours. A runner is facing a fine of hundreds of euros for breaking coronavirus rules after he reported his friend's fatal fall in the Italian Alps. Simone Massetti fell a reported 650 feet from a ridge on Mount Palino while running with his friend. A mountain rescue helicopter eventually recovered the body. The only known white giraffe in the world has been fitted with a GPS tracking device in an effort to protect him from poachers in Kenya. The unique male giraffe now stands alone after a female and her calf were killed by poachers in March. The GPS tracking device secured to one of the animal's horns will give hourly updates of his location. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio K-Man's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. This afternoon on Talk Today, we first welcome Dr. Shari Smith, Scholarship Secretariat, and we were discussing the overseas application period for students and mature adults as well who are looking to enhance their education and go overseas for training and development. And of course, to get your degrees, bachelor, master's, doctorate. There is no cap on the amount of government scholarships that are out there. That's what Dr. Smith told me this afternoon. And your application period right now is from the start of the 15th of November, and your deadline is January 31st. I have to big up the education department because they have made it a little easier during this COVID time on the regulations for applying for a scholarship. So you might have had to wait for official letters. Now they're looking for screenshots. There's a guide, a 5-step guide at education.gov.ky that will help you in this application period. And once the overseas application period has been dealt with, all the applications are reviewed and the decisions have been made, the local application period begins. And the local application period is from March 1st to the 30th of April, 2021. We do have open line right now on Talk Today. Give us a call at 1-800-534-8255. That's toll free for Flow customers. Or you can call us at 949-8037 or 949-6990. You can WhatsApp us. I don't do a very good job at looking at the WhatsApp, to be honest. 925-3261. So you can try to WhatsApp us. No guarantees I'm going to see the message. I would like a conversation, so it would be nice if somebody gave us a call and talk to us about what issues are going on that you want to address, any positive thoughts, encouragement that you want to give the people, what you think about. We've had a whole series of events that are going on in Cayman and in the region. I'm still wanting to hear how people did after Tropical Storm Ida. How do you think the response was, both from the public and private sectors? What do you think about Hurricane Iota, which hit Honduras as a Category 5? By tomorrow, it's supposed to at least go down to, I believe it's a Category 1 from the last News Weather Service update that I saw. And hopefully a few days after that, it's just gone altogether. So on that note, we already know that about 11 days ago, Honduras was hit pretty bad from what was a tropical depression, Ida. And that tropical depression left hundreds, if not possibly thousands. I don't think there's an exact count as yet to how many people lost, lives, but their homes, everything they absolutely own, complete communities just washed out, bridges destroyed, so people can't really travel from one area to another to get to a safer place. With Iota, I did see fire services and different emergency organizations trying to move people away from the region, which was the northeastern coast of Honduras that was projected to be hit the hardest from Iota. So I saw what these services were doing and trying to evacuate people from these areas, because they're already dealing with so much flooding as is and so much destruction and devastation that to sit there through that while a Category 5 hurricane, one of the roughest and most powerful in history, comes again after just 11 days after suffering from Ida is a pretty depressing event to have to go through again. So if you hear of any hurricane relief efforts when it comes to Honduras and trying to help out Honduras, Nicaragua, or neighboring Caribbean countries that have been affected in this latest development of the tropical storms and hurricanes, please do assist however you can assist. I know that throughout the year there's been a lot of reliance on people in the community to help our neighbors, help ourselves as much as we can as well to get through the COVID situation. And not everybody has the resources to do so, but you don't necessarily need money to send to Honduras. They're looking for supplies, everything from tarps, from bedding, sheets, towels, sanitary supplies, non-perishable food, baby items, clothing, small things that you think, toys even for kids, small things that you think, I don't need this, I'm going to throw it away. Somebody definitely is in need of that. So when we hear about the Honduras relief efforts, we will let our listeners know about it. But at the same time, if you know of any going on, please do your part, if you can, to assist these people that are losing everything. I really do hope it's the end of the hurricane season by now. I know officially it's supposed to be November 1st, but it seems that the later in the season we get, and year after year, that season gets later and later and more active towards the end of the season. So a couple of concerns with that, but we have to be aware, and we have to stay vigilant, and we have to stay prepared, and we have to help each other as best as we can. I made mention earlier in the show about a job registration process going on, and it's going on from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. today and tomorrow. So this is a registration event for college graduates, recent graduates that are looking for employment internships, and training opportunities. You can go down to the Marriott Beach Resort Orchid Ballroom and you can sign up there. You can be navigated through the jobs portal website. You'll get assistance in what to do. You can check out the opportunities that are available. And if your last name is from A to K, today you have up until 4 p.m. to go to the Marriott to register and see if you can find a job or an employment opportunity. Tomorrow, as well, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., if your last name falls between L to Z, please do go down to the Marriott Beach Resort Orchid Ballroom if you are looking to find employment or internships or job training that's out there. One of the big things we're also celebrating this week, is International Men's Day. Now, we had some representatives from the Family Resource Center that came in last week and were speaking to us about International Men's Day and all the different activities that are going on. So this Thursday, November 19th, we're celebrating men, boys and men. We have a day for almost everybody out there, and as one of our callers earlier said, why is it older persons? Well, we do have a Children's Month. We have an International Women's Day. We have the Older Persons Month. And now, not just now, but we also have International Men's Day. So there's a few different things that are going on for International Men's Day. And if you're with government, you are encouraged to get in the photo opportunity, help celebrate our men, show them that you love them. We love our men, right? Show them that you love them, participate in the photo opportunity in observance of this year's theme, Healthy Minds and Bodies. That's a photo opportunity that will happen on Thursday morning in front of the Government Administration Building. You can also check out the Family Resource Center Facebook page. And I remember the reps that were on with us last week were saying, definitely go to their Facebook page because that is updated with all the different events that they're doing for International Men's Day. I know that they're having a 3-on-3, I think it's 3-on-3. Yes, 3-on-3 basketball tournament as well. That should be on the weekend. So they have a bunch of different events that they're looking to put on for International Men's Day. And aside from that, at this moment, we can go to a commercial break. You are welcome to call us, and we will take your calls after the break. 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp 925-3261.
The Cayman Islands Justices of the Peace Association will be holding its annual general meeting on Wednesday, the 18th of November, starting at 5:30 p.m. in Conference Room 1038 on the ground floor of the Government Administration Building. Entry to the building will be through the staff entrance. All members of the association are encouraged to attend. The agenda will include special donation presentations to recipients of 3 non-profit organizations that render services to children and youth in our Cayman Islands community. Refreshments will be provided. Remember, the Justices of the Peace Association annual general meeting is Wednesday, November 18th at the Government Administration Building.
You're invited to enjoy a customer appreciation and seasonal celebration with Vigoro Nursery on Agricola Drive. Join Vigoro Sunday, November 22nd from noon to 3:30 p.m. for appetizers, beer, wine, and live music. Save 10% on early bird Christmas shopping with Vigoro's best selection of home accessories, truly stunning ceramics, and occasional furniture. Bring the kids. It's going to be a fantastic time with Vigoro on Agricola Drive.
Digital is not a buzzword. It is a culture. At Digicel, we've made it our mission to enrich your digital lives. That's why we're bringing together more of all the experiences you love. The latest shows, the best of local and international music and radio, live sports, cloud storage, breaking news, HD video chats, and more. Welcome to Digital at Digicel, the Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
Maintaining a strong mind and body through sports and general healthy living is a good course of action. But what about your spiritual man, your inner man? He has to be awakened, fed, exercised, strengthened, and led according to the will of God. So, have you heard the call? I'm Evangelist Brother Joseph Joey Ebanks, and I'm inviting you to worship Wednesday and Thursday nights at 7:30. We are bringing the Word of God to our communities as Jesus commanded. Faith comes by hearing. So come and hear. Bring your own chair or simply park and listen to the Word of God from your vehicle, covering the Cayman Islands with the Word of God, one community at a time.
Have You Heard the Call will be next to Jimwood Bar, Martin Drive, Central Georgetown, 18th and 19th, 7:30 p.m.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We did have a caller who posed a question to me during the break, and that was, is the Jobs Cayman assistance today at the Marriott, is that open to anybody or is this just college graduates? So the information that I've received is that it's open for college graduates and those who have recently finished school. So current college students are able to go down, graduates are able to go down. However, I don't think that that should deter you from attending to sign up to see if you can also find employment or a training opportunity. So when you know something like this is going on, and it might be calling to a particular sector of people, and you're looking for a job, my advice is to do the best that you can for yourself and go down. I would go down. So if I'm seeking employment and I might not be a college graduate or a recent graduate, I'm going to do all I can to still make sure that I'm registered with work, with Jobs Cayman, and I'm available for what positions are available. You never know who you're going to talk to, who you're going to meet, what advice you might get, what opportunities there are. So you have to take it in your hands and see if going down there will be able to help you out in whatever you're seeking to gain. Other than that, we have no other calls, right, Silver Fox? No other calls. Well, for tomorrow, I'm very excited to say that I have a couple of great guests lined up. One of them in particular is a friend of mine who I've seen their business get beat up and bashed over the past couple of months due to the tropical storms and the hurricanes that have passed through or close to the Cayman Islands. And also what they had to do to transition through COVID and how they had to best serve their customers. So we'll be talking with this individual tomorrow. I'm not going to give it out to say who that person is, but I know it's going to be a great conversation, and this person has stayed so positive. I would love to get at least an ounce of that positivity and, take it and run with it, because I don't know how they've been able to stay so resilient with all the unfortunate circumstances that have very almost caused his business to close down. So I look forward to speaking with that guest and seeing how they've been able to stay resilient during COVID and during all the storms that we've been having. And as well, we will be having somebody from government as well. I'm not sure who's joining us, but they're going to be talking about the quarantine facilities in the BRAC, giving us an update on how quarantine is being handled in the BRAC, what are the changes, if there will be any changes being made there, and what we can look towards when it comes to quarantining in the BRAC. We do have a phone call, so right when I was going to say, all right, we're going to wrap it up, I'm going to take this call. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon to you, Miss Miller.
How are you doing?
Just fine, ma'am. Blessedly. Can do, thankful. This latest Category 5 hurricane has virtually destroyed San Andres Island. And people who are here, many people.
Many,
here, there were. And they cannot even get in touch with their families there, anything like that. It was a horrific scene yesterday, which I've seen people showing me from there early on. It is really a devastation there, and we have to keep them in our prayers and whatever help and possibly send for them in the coming days. Would be very, very welcome and needed. It's a very terrible situation there, as far as I can understand. Virtually wiped off the face of the map almost, those poor people. And Early on, you're talking about the history and so forth, and a good person you have there coming up to discuss, Captain Paul Hurlstone, my cousin. He's a wealth of knowledge of our history, and many people who are forgotten, many ones, he'll be able to point them out to you and name them and so forth. I can think of the carpentry with beside my dear father. I'm going who built the man who really did the carpentry on the building. So his brother, Captain Rail, was Mr. Roland Bodden, really. He was a master carpenter, and there are other great carpenters along with them whose names are Lorraine Russell, Mr. Kitchener Solomon, Lemuel McField, Will Bush from South Sound. There are others of that era. There are many more of the more modern era that we can think about whose names aren't mentioned very often when we're speaking of they're not no great carpenters or things like that, because we're mostly focused on carpentry in those days as shipbuilders and boat builders and so forth. Captain Rail was the architect and learned the block laying thing and the block making and all that. And all kudos to him, and he deserves it. But his brother's name isn't mentioned very much. Roland Bodden, that great carpenter. And I just wondered if we could get some mention of them, when we're talking about these buildings, because he was very, very involved with it. My father told about Mr. Roland, his great friend, though he was a few years older than my father. And also Mr. Loxley Arch, so forth. That we mentioned these names, and the other names I just called, Also, when we're talking about these buildings and the boat building and stuff, you can't leave out these men. We need to mention their names also, and I'm sure we all, their families know about them and can supply some information on them, but it shouldn't be forgotten before it's too late,
I agree.
It's gone by. They've gone by a long time now. Memory, but
you make a great point, and I agree. We shouldn't forget about these people.
Listening to me, these people are important.
Yes,
they're very important.
Well, so sir, you've called a few times that I've been hosting, so I recognize your voice, but you seem to know so much, and I really encourage you to.
Or Mickey Hurlstone, most people know me as.
Okay, all right, Mr. Hurlstone.
My mother was the
Mr. Mickey. I encourage you to get in touch. So maybe the museum is a great starting point for you as well. To get in touch with these people that put on these events and are really in charge of keeping these memories alive and carrying on the stories, because you do seem to have so much information that you want people to know. You mentioned names that I haven't heard, and of course I'd want to know about them.
The poor people to death with it, but it's a lot of information, a lot more. It would take hours and tell people things that many of the younger folks and even some of the older ones have forgotten, of course, but might not know of the importance of many of the things that these people did and so forth. I just like to see their names or hear their names being mentioned. There are lots and lots. Captain Paul is a wealth of knowledge of these things and these memories and these names also. So take care. Thank you very much for listening to me, Matt. Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Has my number. I'm pretty sure of that.
Okay.
They can call me anytime.
Okay, museum.
Sitting around with Facebook and things like that, and not nonsense. I have a phone number. They know my number. It's no hidden thing, so they can call me.
Well, I'd like to hear your stories too. So thank you for the call and thank you for sharing.
You're more than welcome. My pleasure.
We have another caller, and we'll take that call now. Caller, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Fine, and you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. I was just driving on, I think I don't even know the name of the street, but it's there where First Caribbean Bank is out coming out there from A.L. Thompson. That's a part of industrial. I don't see no sign saying the name of the street. and it brings you down to the red light to Jake Scott's. You know what I'm talking about? They've been doing some work on the road down there. Apparently, I think it's the water company or some company doing some road tearing up and putting down pipes and so forth.
I should know the name of the street. I worked on it. Oh, boy.
I don't know. I drive all my life and don't even know the name. But I was just wondering if there's anyone out there that could call the station and give an update when that road is going to be repaved back, because that road is terrible and it got some mega holes in it. And you don't know those holes are there until you get up on those holes and you drop into those holes. So if whoever's doing that work out there, they need to really do what they can do about repaving that, because it is terrible. All they're doing is mashing up our vehicles on these roads. So I just hope that somebody can hear this and call in or send an email and you can read it off tomorrow or whatever the case may be.
Well, hopefully they do get in touch. And thank you as well for calling to let us know that it still isn't the best road to drive on right now.
No,
so thank you for that as well.
On it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So everybody knows the caller is talking about the road, which I forget. I think it's North something. Anyways, so it's where Alyssa Towers is, where Kirk office is. It's the roundabout from the Thomas Russell Way. No, I don't think it's that. No. Did you say North Sound Road? Okay, that was Silver Fox North Sound Road. So I should know because I did work on that road. But from where the Butterfield Bank roundabout is to the major light intersection where the Jake Scott and the gas station is. So that is the road that the caller was talking about. We do have our final caller on the phone. Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm well, thanks. I called to echo what the last caller just called in about. It is ridiculous. It seems like nothing is going on there because there's no evidence of any new roadworks being done at night, and any evidence of that is being shown in the morning. The road is atrocious, and Cayman Water Company, not Cayman Water Company, the Water Authority needs to do something. They are forever ripping up roads in Cayman, forever ripping up roads for whatever reason that it is, and they really got to get their act together. That road there, you would destroy every tire that was ever made. It is bad enough all around, but we got to contend with the wear and tear on the tires and alignments and so forth. But when we got that kind of road that every vehicle in Cayman traverse, at some point in time, some effort got to be made to fix it back. So I'm calling on the Water Authority to come out, do what you got to do, and get the thing paid back. With that, I'll leave you and say good afternoon to you.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you for your input as well, caller. I agree with you. I do not know why it takes so long. We would like to hear the reasons, not just as a citizen, but as somebody who regularly traverses that road every day. It's a major road. Brings up a great point about why road work is not happening in the very, very late hours of the night to the early morning hours. That makes the most sense to me. I'm not sure why it's not happening or what's stopping this road from a quicker repair than the pace that's going on right now. It really is unacceptable. So as both of our callers have given their frustrations, I'd have to agree with them on that. It is a frustrating thing. And like I said, it's a major, major, major road, North Sound Way. So thank you to our callers for calling in with your comments and contributions, and to our guests today. And please do tune in with us tomorrow on Talk Today. Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.